The first flyer slipped from her trembling fingers and landed beside a man who had already been shot. And the alien girl stood frozen as rain washed human blood into the cracks of the street, because she had learned too late that Earth answered fear with violence. She was small, fragile, and visibly wrong in a city that punished weakness, with pale skin that reflected light and eyes too large and too sad. And she clutched a bundle of damp paper to her chest while soldiers shouted orders she barely understood. The words on every flyer were the same, written in simple human language she had practiced for months. Looking for Dad. No requirements. She did not understand why humans stared, laughed, or recoiled, only that each reaction pushed her closer to the end. She had not come to conquer. She had come because she was dying. She had been born after her world had already begun to rot. After human weapons tested in distant space had torn a hole through her sky and poisoned her soil. After her people realized, too late, that the stars were no longer safe. She was created in a lab beneath the ruins, built from desperate science and stolen human genetic archives, a last attempt to bind alien life to something stable, something adaptable, something human. She grew up hearing alarms and prayers, learning to walk beside corpses, learning that survival was borrowed time. When her body began to fail, when her heart stuttered and her blood burned, the elders told her the truth they had hidden. Her life was anchored to a single human donor, a genetic source, a father in everything that mattered. If she did not find him, the human part of her would collapse, and the alien part would follow. They gave her a broken ship, coordinates to Earth, and hope so thin it felt cruel. She crashed alone outside a human city, crawled from fire and metal, and was found by soldiers before she found shelter. They locked her away, cut her skin, shocked her nerves, and called it research. She screamed until her voice broke. She escaped only because they thought she was too weak to matter. On the streets, she learned new pain, hunger, cold, laughter sharper than knives. She handed flyers to every man she met, asking the same questions in a soft voice. Do you feel sick when you are near me? Do you dream of stars you do not know? Are you my dad? Some laughed. Some cursed. Some touched her in ways that made her flinch and run. One sold her location for cash. Another chased her with a camera. Each rejection made her chest tighter. Her vision blurred more often. Her steps slowed. Her body was failing faster than she feared. News feeds turned her into a joke, then a threat. Religious leaders called her a sign of the end. The military called her a loose weapon. Drones followed her. Dogs hunted her. When soldiers finally cornered her under a collapsed bridge, she could barely stand. Her last flyer slipped into the mud as she raised empty hands. A gun fired. Pain ripped through her side, hot and final, and she fell, thinking the search was over. Then a human voice broke through the chaos, old and shaking and angry in a way fear could not erase. The man pushed past rifles and shouted for them to stop. He had seen her flyer weeks before and laughed like everyone else until the dreams started. Dreams of a blue world breaking apart. Dreams of a child crying in the dark. Dreams of dying stars calling his name. When he touched her wound, his hands burned and the world seemed to hold its breath. Soldiers dragged him back, but something pushed them away, something not violent but absolute. The alien girl looked at him, really looked, and felt the lock inside her break open. He was not her father by blood. He was her father by consequence. Decades ago, he had volunteered for a medical program he barely remembered. His DNA had been taken, copied, sent beyond Earth without consent or understanding. His body had forgotten. His soul had not. When the soldiers fired again, he stepped in front of her without thinking, and the bullets froze in the air. Power surged, not as destruction, but as connection, as two broken lives aligning across worlds. The bridge cracked. The air bent. Ships appeared in the sky as alien survivors traced the signal they thought was lost. They arrived too late to save their world, but not too late to save her. She could leave. She could be healed fully among her own kind. She chose to stay. She chose Earth. She chose the man who knelt beside her, bleeding and terrified and unashamed. As medics approached and weapons lowered, her body stabilized, the curse lifted by the bond she had found. Humanity did not change in a day. Fear remained. Hatred lingered. But the story spread, not of an invasion, not of a monster, but of a fragile alien child who searched for her father in a hostile world and found not just one man, but proof that humanity's greatest strength was not power, but the ability to choose each other when it mattered most.